Drew.
That's Mike.
And that's Hellah Sidibe.
Hellah Sidibe is a New Jersey-based YouTuber known for being the guy that has run for 1,167 days in a row and counting. Since 2016, Hellah has used his platform and his story to inspire his viewers to change their lives for the better. By doing so, he has created a community of nearly 200,000 subscribers with over 100 videos and 16 million plus views. Be sure to check out his channel, Hellah Good, to see some truly inspiring content and follow the links in the bio to his Instagram and other social media. Hellah, thanks so much for being with us today.
I'm glad to be here, guys.
So I wrote that intro based on the most recent video you uploaded, and at that time you were at 1,167. What are you at today?
Today, when I complete the run, I'll be at 1,173 consecutive days of running.
1,173 consecutive days of running. That's wild.
Yes. Thank you.
Wow. We have a lot of questions about that one because that is one of the most amazing things I've heard. And at this point, it's just like second nature. You're getting out doing it.
Yeah.
But let's go back to, like, you have an amazing past, not only just here in the States, but you were born in Mali, West Africa, right?
Yes, I was born in West Africa, Mali.
And so you lived there for a good part of 16 years?
Yeah, half of my life I've been in Mali, and then the other half in the United States.
And what was it like growing up in Mali?
Mali is an interesting country. It's one of the poorest countries in the world. We're a third world country, very poor. When people tell me to compare the environment, my example is it's like being on Mars, because you know the dirt that you see based on what we've seen from pictures. I haven't been on Mars, but Mali is completely the opposite of the United States. We're a poor country, but the sense of nationalism is amazing. We care for each other, and a lot of stuff I learned about life that's helping me out today is the fact that what I've seen, what people went through in Mali, and I always relate to that to this day. So it was a good thing. It was a blessing that I was born. Who would say I'm so happy I was born in a poor country? Because everybody's trying to get out of poverty and make ways for themselves. So it was a blessing that the fact that I was born and raised in Mali.
It gives you some perspective on life, right? I feel like growing
100%.
up in the States, you don't typically know what that lifestyle's like, and poverty.
Yes.
You understand poverty, but I don't think you understand poverty at the scale that potentially Mali.
Yes. The Mali people make less than $1 a day.
Wow.
That's how it is. And then some household don't even make 50 cents in a day. It's insane. Yeah.
And so when you were growing up in this environment, what did you envision for yourself as a child? What did you see for yourself in the future when you were growing up at such a young age there?
The fact that the family is so close, everybody take care of each other. I just envisioned myself being a professional soccer player.
Wow.
I didn't have to worry about anything. The thing is with life, when you get older, you see that your parents and your older relatives endure your pain for you as a kid, and you have no idea you're growing up in such poverty. You're just a kid on the street with no shoes on, running around, having fun with your friends, playing soccer every day after school. And you are seeing these professionals on TV, and you said, one day I want to be there and play in front of everybody on TV so you guys can watch me. So that's all you have in your mind when you're growing up, because the beautiful thing about Mali is the fact that we are there for each other. You don't see poverty. We laugh about or hardship, and we find a way to make it happen. If you go out, for example, if one of you are out going to work and you got to come back home to eat, no matter how small the portion of the meal is, they make sure that they put some aside for you, so you don't have to worry about it. You might not be your fullest. You might not be like, oh man, I'm so satisfied, but they make sure that you get some food when you get home. So it's that kind of mentality that's there growing up. So you really saw nothing but beauty, even though it was hard. But they make sure that you don't go through what they went through. So that's the beautiful part.
Yeah, that's really cool. And that's something that I've noticed you mention in your videos now on your channel, is that you show a lot of gratitude and thankfulness to the people that have been there supporting you along the way and helping you achieve these goals and find these opportunities. When you were at that age in Mali, what kind of opportunities were there to pursue that goal of professional soccer? How did you go about enacting that dream?
The only resource we had was just believing in ourselves. There's no opportunity. There was not any opportunity. It's that they just say, keep playing. Maybe you'll get lucky one day. Someone from Europe will come in and they'll see you play on the street. They'll pick you out. We don't have anything. Even me, I always tell people I was so happy as a teenager here, 16, 17, I had a job. I was a delivery boy. I was able to make minimum wage. In Mali, there's no opportunity to make minimum wage, to make your own money that you can depend on. If you want to go out and eat with your friends or mess around, buy something, you can. So there was really nothing really that ensured that that was going to happen. It was just hope. So the beautiful thing about life is having hope, because anything could happen, having faith. So all we had was just faith and hope. There's really no reason. It has definitely gotten better today with social media, because now people are getting access to phones and camera and recording, and then people get to see it. But
Right.
the only thing we really had that was guaranteed was just faith and hope. That was it.
Wow.
And so you were playing soccer. Was there like a program that you were playing in your school? Or?
Yeah, we had just club teams. Like my neighborhood had a team that I would play in, but it wasn't anything crazy. We just play in the same field, dirt field with gravel. If you actually look at my legs, I have so many scars, because you fall down, you get cuts. So I would come home bleeding legs. We didn't have grass. Like grass, you can't. Mali is really hot. We're in the Sahara Desert, runs through my country. Sahara Desert literally goes through Mali. So it's a dry country. The south, where the capital is, a little more greener, you call it, but it's literally dirt. So we played on that, and we had club team, but it was like a town. Someone who's an adult would be like, you know what, I want to take these kids under my wing and create a club so they have a team to go to. That's more of it. It wasn't like the clubs that you have here for kids.
Right. There's not like a structured system throughout the
exactly.
schooling that you have, And so then the summer before high school, you moved to Illinois.
Yes, DeKalb, Illinois.
Yeah. And so how did you get to Illinois?
So Illinois is interesting, actually. So 1995, my father got a Fulbright scholarship to come get his PhD.
Wow.
So the school that was chosen for him was Northern Illinois University, NIU, which was in DeKalb, Illinois. So he came 95. And when he came here, my mother applied to do her master's. She got accepted into the master program. She came 97. So my little brother was 4 years old at the time. So my little brother came with my mom, because there's no one to take care of him. Right. So my sister and I, at 97, I was like 6 years old, wasn't 7 yet. And my sister was 8. So we were left with my mom's sister to take care of us. So what happened is literally within months, she passed away. So we were left literally by ourselves in Africa. So we had some family friends contacted. So they found a way to talk to the school to find a visa for us to come here, because there's no one taking care of us. We were literally left alone. And Mali was just around relatives to take care of us, who were babies also had to take care of us and were child as well. So we came 98 to 99. So I came to the United States 98, and then with my sister, while my whole family was here. So my dad finished his program 99. My mom finished 99. So we were in the U.S. for 1 year, and I just learned English. I went to elementary, Jefferson Elementary. I did 3rd grade, and then we all moved back 99. So what happened was 2002, my mom applied to do her PhD. So she got accepted to the Fulbright scholarship. She came here 2 years. 2 years after that, she applied for us to come, because the education system in Mali is very poor. So that's when we came to the U.S. So I kind of had an idea, but as a 6, 7-year-old, you kind of have a memory. I just remember watching Power Ranger. I used to tell my friends about that and things of that nature. But coming back after that summer was when I really saw what it was like to be in the United States.
Wow.
What a story. Yeah. I wanted to go back and ask real quick if you had any memory at all of what it was like just being with your sister on your own at such a young age. I don't know if I had mentioned to you in any of our pre-calls, but I am an elementary school teacher. And before I was in my present school, I was in a school where I was teaching it was a completely full class of immigrants, of students that had come here on their own, that had either left their parents behind or had been separated from their families somehow in order to pursue those dreams that they couldn't find in their home countries. And I have always been so impressed with their resilience to be able to do that at such a young age. Yeah. Do you remember anything about that experience being 6 years old? I'm sure it's hard to remember, but that must have been so impressive for you.
Yeah, coming here or being back in Mali at 6 years old?
Coming here first.
Yeah, I remember one of the first thing I remember, actually, it happens to me. This is really weird. I remember the first smell that I took in the United States. When I got off that plane, there was a certain smell. And then I would be with my girl. I'll be like, I just smelled the first time I came to the U.S. Sometimes it hits me. So I remember that vividly. When I got off that flight and got into JFK, that smell is something I'll always remember. But being here was very tough because I did not speak the language. And I just remember vividly every time we're in my dad's car, he's taking us to school, we're repeating and repeating, may I please go to the bathroom? May I please go to the bathroom? He said, if you don't say this to the teacher, you're going to pee your pants, because in America, you got to ask permission before you leave class to go pee. You can't just get up and leave. So we didn't speak a lick of English. So my little brother was here a year ahead, so he knew English. He was younger than me. He was 2 years younger than me. He still spoke well English than we did. And he would teach us anytime how to count to 10. And then we were just repeating every car ride to school. May I please go to the bathroom? May I? And he said, don't say can I, say may I. So I remember that vividly as a 6-year-old. So that was one of my memories that I always think back to at 6 years old.
My wife has a similar story. She moved here from Brazil and didn't speak any English, and she was like 6 or 7, and she would go to school and everyone would be like, oh, this person, but she had no idea what any of the kids were saying to her. It's got to be this amazingly wild experience. But I mean, luckily, I think there's some silver lining to when you said you were in Mali alone, because you built up Mali to be this amazingly community-based area. So I don't think you would be left, fully on your own. There were people probably there to help you.
So like, we would have like my cousins who were very young at the time. One of them actually recently passed away. She was literally a mother figure. And then when I got older, I realized how young she was. And then when I was in Mali 2 years ago, I was talking to her. Her name is Madini. I was like, wow, you took care of us when we were young. I thought you were like a mom to me. And then she was a teenager.
Holy cow.
Wow.
And I'm like, wow, how did that even happen? But the way that she was so mature so quick, I thought she was like a mother figure taking care of us when we were like a young children. So there's people always take care of you. And then if she wasn't there, or next door neighbor, the ladies that are there, they'll come in and step in when she's not there. So yeah, people would help each other. So that's how we survived. We had the family and people who are your neighbors who will look out for you. So even though my aunt was the one that was responsible for us, unfortunately she passed away. Other people started stepping up, but it could have been just been left for them to take care of us. So my parents did what they had to do to get us a visa so we can come over here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it made you who you are today, right? That resilience
100%,
built into
100%.
You is there, because we can see that through almost everything that you do. And so now you're in high school, right? Which is a wild time to move. Drew and I were talking about this. A wild time to move to the States full time is like right before high school, and you're going through high school, and you seem to have flourished when you got here, right? It almost seems like you could be put in any situation, and you're gonna take it all in and become the best situation out of that situation. So probably one of the things that brought you to become socialized and build friends was soccer when you got here. You still have this dream in the back of your head.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Right. And now you're like, okay, I might not, I'm learning English, I'm becoming a better student, I'm getting here, but I know that there's no language needed in soccer, right?
There isn't. Soccer was, when I saw the grass field, I was laughing. I said, this is what you guys play on? I said, I was thinking in my head, this is a piece of cake. When I would run barefoot on it, because I was used to playing barefoot on dirt that's hard, and I basically built a callus on my foot that it didn't even hurt anymore. And we would have soccer shoes, these plastic shoes that we would wear, and that rips. We trying to like glue it to each other, like melt it into each other. Here and there, if you get lucky, your parents will get you a regular little soccer shoes. That doesn't happen often. So when I came here, I see the grass. I'm like, oh, this is over. This is easy. And I said, this is where you American play on? That's what I would say. This is what you play on? And I said, this is fun, because it was a softer ground. It's actual grass, and I can run. It's even surface. When you're playing soccer in Mali, you're always sliding. You have no traction. You're trying to control the ball. The ball will come at you. It'll hit a little pebble. It'll bounce in one direction. You don't even know where it's going to go. You got to try to adjust to it. So your touches are perfect on grass, because there your touches are okay, because you don't know where the ball is going. So it was like amazing thing for me. And I just started just enjoying soccer even more. And I was speaking English a little bit, but it wasn't very good. But it was, like you said, soccer, you don't need any language. You can just communicate by just moving your body, by gesture. I could say something in my language and stick my hand out. Someone would, maybe he wants the ball, and go pass the ball.
Yeah.
But at that point, I took advantage of that being on a field, and I excelled pretty quick. And I didn't even think that I was as good as what people were saying, because the surface, and then having a proper soccer ball that's full and flayed, and having a proper shoes, putting that on. And then the fact that I saw all these people on TV and I'm wearing an actual jersey. I'm like, we're kids, we can wear this. I have my jersey, I have my number, I have shin guards. Shin guards were the coolest thing for me because you see it on TV. And I was so excited for my friends to see pictures. They're like, oh, Hellah's a pro now. They say that because this is what a pro wear. Now that I was playing professionally, that having that kit. So that made me love the game even more because I'm like, there's more exciting stuff about this game.
That is crazy. I mean, I didn't even think about, like, you came never having playing on a grass field, which is something that is unbelievably common in the United States, and it's just something that I would have never ever have thought of.
Yeah,
that's so cool. And shin guards. And so, what was your first pair of shoes?
For soccer cleats,
Yeah.
we got it at Payless Shoes. It was Spalding.
Okay.
Spalding at Payless. My mom took me, and I was like, all right, I want these. It has cleats on it, and I didn't even care about what. I didn't even know what brand. And I just remember it said Spalding. It was a black with a white Spalding on it, and that shoe was. Later on, that I realized how heavy and whatever. Because when you get the better stuff, you realize the one you have wasn't so great. But at that point, that was the greatest thing ever. It was Payless Shoes, Spalding brand shoe that I was wearing, and I still have some old videos of me wearing that. So that was the shoes I was wearing.
It's 100,000 times better than what you were wearing before that.
100%. Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, because sometimes we just wear rubber, plasticky shoes. We call it Euro. So it's basically, it's like, it looks like sandals, but you play soccer in it, but it's all rubbery, plastic, like soft plastic, that we're playing.
Okay.
And so what was your high school soccer career like?
So when I came here, as a freshman, I was 4'11". I remember I was on the freshman team. My coach's son, I remember he was 7, Owen. He was like just taller than me, and he was 7, and I was a 13-year-old that was just 4'11". So, and then soccer was just like natural to me, and I just excelled well. I didn't even know when I got pulled up to varsity I wasn't exactly on varsity all freshman year. I keep getting pulled up for games and getting pulled back, and I was like, wait, I can't play varsity. I thought that's for seniors, people who were in 12th grade, because I didn't understand if you're good enough, you can play at varsity. Wow. So they started pulling me up, and I started scoring. I scored most of my goals freshman, sophomore year. And next thing you know, I started hearing my name in an announcement. And like you go to school, when they do the announcement, the Pledge of Allegiance, they say on the soccer team, Hellah did this and that. And then people would just high five you in the hallway. I'm like, what is going on? So I started seeing like the fun side of it. Any kid you would enjoy when you're getting props for doing something that you never thought was a thing. And then got into varsity. Sophomore year was basically there the whole time. And just next thing you know, I'm getting recognitions. I'm getting all these college letters from JUCO, Division 2, 3. And it just started being my junior year summer going into senior year. That's when I was like, I think I'm good enough to play college. I just trained like it was my job, and did very well. Scored the fastest goal in our school history. It was 8 seconds after kickoff. I remember when the ref blew the whistle. We didn't have the ball. The opposing team did. I was in the center circle, the one side of it. As soon as they dropped the ball back, I just started sprinting as fast as I can. I think the pressure made the defender scared. He coughed off the ball to my feet. I just took one touch and I ripped a shot. It went in. It was 8 seconds. So the next day at school was in the announcement. I was like, well, this is awesome. So that's going to give me more opportunity for colleges. So he scored a goal in 8 seconds. He must be pretty quick to get to that. So, and then I made some all-sectional, all-state honorable mention playing the game, and I got college coaches to come see me in that.
Wow, that's really cool. It's cool you're starting to talk about the recognition you were starting to get. And before we get to the recognition of the university attention, one thing that I wanted to talk about or ask about was the experience of being voted prom king. It seems it got you some social attention too, right?
Yeah, I did not see that happening. So the prom, I was on the prom court, and I was like, this is crazy, because I didn't consider myself popular in high school. Even though a lot of my friends be talking, they're like, oh, you're popular to us. I was like, no, I was just a kid that just went to school and enjoyed being there and being around friends. So I saw these kids that were like always about anything that happens to the school, you see these kids in their name, and I didn't see
Mhm.
myself as that, and it didn't really matter to me. So when I went to school one day, they announced the prom court, and I hear my name. So it's by vote. This is like the students actually vote this. It's not like the teachers select who's there. So I was like, wait, people voted for me. This is interesting. So I
Yeah.
remember actually sitting in one of my classes. There was a girl that was nominated, and then we were just joking. I was like, guess what? Just watch this. I'm gonna be prom king. You're gonna be prom queen. Okay? We're laughing it off as a joke because she was like, I don't even know how I got nominated. And it's funny, both of us, I got king, she got queen.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I guess we spoke it into existence. But when that happened, I was just like, this is insane. I can't believe that I I am prom king. It was just crazy. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that speaks a lot to your personality for sure.
Yeah.
To be able to be democratically voted like that by your peers, I think
Yeah.
that says a
Thank you.
whole lot.
Yeah.
yeah, and to have come just a few years before that, not speaking any of the language,
Yeah.
and it shows like that how amazing of a person you can be, and how your personality
guys.
is just so friendly, and you see that in your videos. And honestly, as the interaction that we've had with you, it
Yeah.
only resonates throughout that. So
I
it's such a
appreciate
cool
that. Thank
thing.
you.
And so you graduate high school. And
Uh-huh.
you're graduating high school. You're getting letters from college coaches. Are you
Yeah.
taking recruiting trips?
I went on, two recruiting trips. The school that was in my town, NIU, they offered me to go play with them. I even went on a camp with them.
Oh, cool.
And then also the first school that I really wanted to go to was a Division III school. It's called Carthage College in Kenosha, Wisconsin. They approached me. I saw their campus. It was right on Lake Michigan. It was so beautiful.
Wow.
And I said, I have to go to this school. My grades weren't very well in high school. I struggled a lot. My siblings, younger brother and older sister, were literally always amazing in school. Both of them actually graduated at age 16, and I was the one that graduated
Wow.
normally at 18. So, because I was the athlete, I was
Right.
the one that's always, soccer was my thing, to a point where there's like a couch in our living room that was named after me, because as soon as I come back from practice, I don't even shower. I lay in there and I pass out. I get up, I eat, I shower, I go to bed. My mom's like, you got to start doing your homework. So my grade started getting better, because I realized the senior year, every coach was like, if you don't get that ACT score, if you don't get that, you can't play with us, even though you're talented.
Right.
So when that was happening, I realized that I needed to step it up with all these college attention. So Carthage College was the one that stepped in and said, hey, we're interested in you. I said, I don't have the good ACT score. The first one I took, it was 19. And they said, come to our school. We're going to make you take one on campus. We're going to make sure that. But if you get the result, it only stays in our school. You can't share with other school. That was the deal. So I drove 3 hours to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and I did really well. I got a 21 from a 19, which is very good. So I'm like at average now, or above, a little above average. I remember going to my counselor excited, and to tell her that. She said to me, she said, if I were you, you should focus on going to a community college a year or two. I don't think you're going to get into Carthage. I was so hurt. And I wasn't mad at her. I was like, wow, she's right. I'm not going to be able to go to my dream school, which was Carthage College. And it was Division III. It was my dream school, because I loved the school. I didn't care. They said that we can get you academic scholarship. There's no full ride because it's Division III, and they won NCAA championships. So I was like all about that. And so I went to tell my mom. I was like, yes, sir, let's just keep trying. And eventually I was like, wait a minute, she should have just encouraged me. She should have asked that I couldn't get in. So I got accepted to Carthage College, and then they sent me a shirt that said property of Carthage. I was going through my old clothes yesterday and I saw it. So I was like, I got to save this shirt. And I put on this shirt, and I took my acceptance letter and I went to the office the next day. And then I showed up to the consul. I was like, hey, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I got into Carthage College. I put the acceptance letter on the table to show her. And it wasn't to be bitter. It was more like to show her that I did it. Like, I was excited. I wanted it. The whole day, like, I'm wearing property of Carthage College. Like, I'm walking around. People are like, are you going to Carthage? I'm like, yep, I'm going there. I told the coach. I was excited about it. And so that was really promising to see, until I got to play in the All-American, All-State game. And my first touch on the ball, I ripped it with my weak foot. I was so lucky, because my weak foot, I couldn't shoot to save my life with the weak foot. And that hit like upper 90 corner. So yeah. My first touch on the ball in the game. And then right after the game, Wisconsin-Madison, there's some school in Wisconsin, and they came to me and said, hey, Hellah, we really love what you're doing, but let's work on that ACT score. I was like, okay, I'm good enough to play Division I now, but I got to work on the ACT score. So I just started taking the ACT prep again, and I took it 3 times to get the score that I needed. And then UMass had recruits, University of Massachusetts has recruits everywhere. So word of mouth, they know school. So they've heard of me already at this point. So what happened was one of my really good friends who went to school with me in high school, had family in Massachusetts. He was looking at BC. He said, hey, you want to come to BC with me? So I check out BC. I'll pay for your plane ticket because I didn't want to go. He said he even offered that. So I hop on a flight, met his family, and then we were talking about schools. And then they're like, you should maybe come out to East Coast. East Coast has the best schools, trying to convince me. And the whole family is a BC family. They're from Nepal, and they all love BC. So I said, let me look into BC. I started talking to BC. BC started to recruit me at that point. But the assistant coach who was the head of the recruiting for me ended up getting a job at Columbia University. So he emailed me and said, hey, Hellah, you can't get into Columbia. Yeah, it was true. Based on your grade, he said, I'm going to Columbia. Like, I would love to have you there with me. And then the head coach at BC he knew of me, but it was the assistant coach that was like chasing me. He was on top of it. And
Gotcha.
so that didn't happen. And then my guardian goes, who became my guardian, my best friend's uncle. He goes, why don't we look at UMass, University of Massachusetts? I was like, sure. We hop in the car, we go for a drive, and I get into the admission office and I say, this is the campus? And he goes, yeah, we're here, I think. And we talked to admission. They're like, okay, 1 mile that way, you'll see the campus. So the campus was 1 mile away from the admission office. So in the car ride, I was telling my guardian, I was like, nope, I'm not going to this school. This is in the middle of nowhere. What is this? So as soon as I see the skyscraper for UMass, I was like, whoa, I'm going to UMass. I didn't even get on campus yet. So we went directly to the soccer office, and they're like, oh, yeah, we know who you are. We want you to come in and do a overnight camp, where you get to play with our players and then other aspiring college players. And then I had to pay. I'm grateful my guardian gave me $400 in check for the camp. You got to pay for the camp. So I did very well, and I was actually very proud of myself how I was playing against the collegiate players and the ones who were about to play college. And at the end of the camp, the coach came to me with my check. He said, we like you, so you don't have to pay for the camp. We want to recruit you.
Wow.
So you come to UMass. So that's how I got to UMass.
That makes total sense, though, because when I was looking at your UMass stats, there was nothing on your freshman year. And so yes. I was like, oh, maybe he like redshirted.
Yeah, I had to sit out a whole year. Yeah.
Okay.
I had to sit out. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Sit out. Yeah.
So now you're at UMass, right? You get there, and you're a sophomore. You're on the team, and you start in 2 out of 17 games. What does that do? You're coming from a college where you've been built up. You're recruited. Yeah. You're like, I got a little bit of beef on me, right? I'm the guy. And now you're starting in 2 games. What does that do to your ego?
Yeah. So before I left Illinois, NIU, and the coach came into my living room begging my mom to let me stay. He said, I know he's an underclassman. I'll give him his favorite number. He can wear that and all that. So I left that. And then I get to UMass. I'm not starting. So I'm like, I was kind of hurt. I'm like, what is going on? I can't believe this. And then the coaches, some of the coaches are like, Hellah, be the super sub that you are. Because I would come in with energy, running all over. I became from a midfielder. I knew I couldn't play midfield at that level. So I accepted that because it took a lot of technical ability that I didn't have. I had to work on that if I wanted to. So I was put into outside wing and forward because I had this speed. I didn't even know where that came from. I didn't think I was this fast in high school. So I would just chase, get the ball, and create an opportunity for the teammates or myself. So I get there. I'm not starting, just getting in as a sub. I'd get good amount of minutes time. I even scored against Indiana University. They were like number 1 or number 2 in the country at that point. Yeah. And I was like, am I going to start the next game? I literally just scored against this top-ranked team in the country. They actually went to the NCAA Final Four that year. And the person that I stole the ball from to score on actually was like drafted number 1, number 2 in the MLS.
No way.
So I was like looking, I was like, oh, I just beat this defender and scored. He was drafted top. So it came to a point where like one of my assistant coach, Roy Fingers, his name exactly, would talk to me. I knew he believed in me more than anybody on the program. And he would come to me trying to basically, Hellah, keep doing your stuff. He said, I'm always advocating for you to start. You need to start. And one of our player, Ben Arikian, I'm still friends with him. He's from New York. He was like a Heisman Trophy watch list for soccer. It's called the Herman Trophy instead of Heisman.
Okay.
Oh,
literally,
cool.
He was on the watch list. So he was top dog. So he wasn't doing what he was supposed to do. I talked to him. We laugh about it. So the coach came to me, and the assistant coach came to me and said, hey, I went to the head coach and said, Hellah, you've been earning the starting spot since a few games in you got to UMass. So I told coach to start you over Ben. Don't make me regret this. So now you get the opportunity. That's the truth. One of the starting happened. Don't make me regret this. So that's how I started. I took Ben's spot, and
Wow.
and I'm like, this guy's a Herman Trippy Washley. This is crazy. He eventually got in the starting lineup, but they moved me around. But that's how I started, and I did my best at that point.
I mean, you did more than your best, because your junior year, you started in 17 out of 19 games. And in your senior year, you started in 14 out of 16. So, and I'm sure there's a very good reason for you not starting in the other games each year.
Yeah, those games were injuries, and that I didn't get started. And then my senior year, my senior game, I didn't because I got concussion. Oh, so, man. That summer, I literally told myself, we're in Massachusetts, my family that's there. So we went to Martha's Vineyard. So I spent every day at the beach working on fitness and ball. So I came in, and it was really very rewarding to hear teammates and people that are not on the team. Words get out. I had people on campus that are like, oh, hell, I heard you're killing it in preseason. Before anyone got on campus, I would get messages. Wow. So wow. I went in there. No one's going to beat me, and no one's going to – it doesn't matter whether you're my teammate. And it got to a point that I was having fun with it. I was doing these stuff that I couldn't imagine that I was able to do because I put the work in. Those times that I didn't start, I realized that it was my own fault. I didn't work hard enough. Because sometimes you may think I deserve this, but if you could have just focused on just keep on working, that's what I did that summer. That's when I starting for that last 2 years.
I mean, it seems like you consistently do this exact thing, right? You're always putting that work in, and you've got obviously raw talent, but you have drive, and that's one of the most important things to have there. And so,
thank you.
So how does it feel to you graduate college, and now what's the next step?
So I wanted to play professionally.
Yeah.
And I was scared to kind of go tell my coach, I want to play pro. Can you help me? And then I was like, my coach should just help me without me having to tell him. He knows it. And if I have the talent, he should talk to coaches. So I was playing this PDL team in the summer, Boston Victory. PDL is Professional Development or Premier Development League, depending on how you look at it. And there's a kid named Charlie Rugg from BC, ACC player, literally scoring like 20-plus games in a season. So our team was playing him. He was playing for Worcester Hydra, and I was playing for Boston Victory. Worcester and Boston is 45 minutes apart, so it's like a big rivalry. So we go to their field, and I'm on the wing. So my coach said, Hell, I want you to play left back. You're pretty fast. This kid is fast. He's scoring goals left to right. You got to make sure you shut him down. Stay on him. Wherever he goes, you're going. I don't care if you leave your position. You leave that. We'll find a way. Because if we take him out, we should be able to win this game. So that game, there's pictures that I have online. I was literally on him like glue. He did not go anywhere. And then when I get the ball from him, I would attack and create chances for our team. So Sporting Kansas City of the MLS sent their recruit to go look at Charlie. And then they didn't go for me at all. So they saw me, and my little brother, have to give it to him. He acted as an agent. Email all these teams in the league. Oh, I have a brother who's playing at you, whatever. So I got an email from Sporting Kansas City saying that, hey, we want to look at this game, Boston versus Hydra. I still have the screenshot of the email. And we were curious if you're a left midfielder, you're lefty. We're looking for a left winger. We love what you did as a left back. And then I was like, oh, actually, in fact, I'm a left wing midfielder. I was dropped back to defend this guy, Charlie Rock, who they want to recruit, actually. So they ended up taking me instead of him. He ended up getting drafted by LA. So at that point, we're emailing. They actually even reached out to my head coach. They wanted to see video highlights. I was making highlights. I didn't even know how to edit. I still don't know how to edit. I was making all these highlights for them to see my mistakes, my crossing. My coach even left me a voicemail and said, like, Sporting Kansas City just talked to me. And then there were certain things that I had to do that he didn't like I wasn't doing. He said, you got to take care of your business. Otherwise, I'm not going to tell Sporting Kansas City what they want to hear. So they wanted to get me recruited. And then now when I file everything, the visa came up. What are you? You're a J1 visa. You're an international person. So now we're hitting another roadblock. So they wanted to recruit me to the actual MLS combine, which is the major combine for the MLS. And then I couldn't get into that. There's a lot of immigration stuff. that had to be dealt with. And then they say, you know what, the Info Sport Combine, you can get in. You have to apply and get accepted, but they recommended for me, and then they put the word in, and then I got in immediately. It wasn't even a hesitation. So they said Sporting Kansas City is going to be there to watch you, and there's Seattle's Sounders, and then they had the Seattle affiliate. There was teams all over there. So I get there, I started doing well, and they wanted to get me, and then the head coach came to me and said, Hellah, the visa is the issue. Stay tuned. We're looking to draft you. It's email. We're looking to draft you in the supplementary draft. There's a super draft and supplementary. Super draft is the first day. Supplementary is like the second round, third round.
Yeah.
Only 60 players out of 2,000 Division I players get selected in this.
Wow.
So it wasn't a lot of people. So I'm sitting on my computer the draft day, waiting. I talked to the assistant coach, John Pascal. John, he's the head coach of Oklahoma City right now. And we are waiting. And then the last pick is coming. And then I don't hear anything. I don't hear my name. I was so devastated. And then I called John. He said that, and the email said we were going to select you, look out for the supplementary draft. So the visa came in issue. He said, Hellah, for you to be on a team is very tough because we only have 8 international spots on each MLS team. The rest of them has to be U.S. resident. He said, out of those, we have people who sell jerseys. So sad that I have to say this. So they have like top players that are coming from Europe.
Yep.
They sell tickets. They're awesome players, way better than I am. And then their thinking is we can find someone that's a U.S. citizen that's not at your level yet, but we can develop them, but we don't have to worry about the whole immigration stuff. You got to be sponsored. You have to get all this. So it's a lot of money to invest. And when they can find similar talent, that they don't have to do that part. So the combine I went to, the Seattle Sounders affiliate, Kitsap Puma was there. One of the coaches was my coach over there. He went out to Kansas City and he said to them, let me have Hellah for a year. I'm going to develop him to be even better. And I'll give it to you when he work out on his visa stuff. So I went to Seattle to play for the Sounders affiliate, Kitsap Puma. So we were at the Sounders game. So we're the Sounders, but we're their farm team.
Yep.
The owner was the owner of the Sounders, Robin.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, so we got to eat at his mansion. We got to enjoy that life in Washington.
Seattle's a beautiful city.
Yeah, I signed a professional contract, and I got to play, and under the U.S. Federation as a professional. But the thing is, I was a J1 visa. I couldn't leave. I had to go home after graduating at least minimum 2 years. That's part of the requirement of the visa, especially if your major is needed in your country. And mine was needed, so I had to get a waiver. So we had to hire lawyers to say, Hellah's a soccer player, you're gonna ruin his career. So he's not. So I had to go into Kitsap to playing professionally, also as a camp counselor, because I was a sociology major. So I had to do that as part of my job for my visa to be valid. So I was signed as a professional, but I was a counselor. Otherwise, if the counselor was out of the way, there's no way my visa would have gotten extended. It was just extended. So we found ways to make that happen. And Kansas City invited me to their camp. I went to preseason in 2014. I got to see all these stars. I got to train. Nothing worked out again. So it was like I had contract offer to go to Germany to play in the Bundesliga 2, where there's U.S. national top players on the team that I was going to. Everything was paid for. Car, we had a phone ready for us when we got there, or apartment. I get to the German embassy. They deny my visa. They said, you're not a U.S. citizen. We don't know what's going to happen after the year guarantee that I had in Germany. You're not probably going to go back to Mali. We don't want you to be an immigration problem in Germany. I had Chinese contract. I didn't want to risk and lose my scholarship because I was still in college to go to China. So a lot of professional opportunity went down the drain was because of the visa issue. And I got the opportunity to play with Oklahoma City Energy because my Seattle coach was an assistant coach there. And then I went to try with 300 kids and I was picked as one of the 2. And I got to play against one of my favorite players, Frank Lampard. He was playing with New York City FC. I was playing with Oklahoma City Energy in preseason at IMG Academy. We got to play against each other, which was cool. So I've played professionally. I didn't get to the level that I wanted to get to, but I got a lot out of it, and I just decided to call it quit. And then 2016, even in the 18, I went to play in Florida for like 2 months because they needed a player. But people always ask me, Hellah, you always say you could do anything you put your mind to. And I said 100%. The reason I'm stopping soccer is because I don't have the same love anymore. And I'm not giving the same effort. And if I'm not doing that, I don't want to I'm stopping this whole running thing. I'm just going to focus purely on soccer and make it happen. But it's not the same anymore. I love what it has done for me. And and I got everything out of it. I met so many people, and so that's how that part and journey ended.
I mean,
That's a
looking back,
really interesting story. And
Yeah.
before, sorry to interrupt you, Mike,
Yeah,
but
you're
before we
good.
go on, I wanted to tie that to something that I listened to you say earlier this morning when I was doing some video research on you, which you were relating your mentality or having a positive mentality to using a GPS. And when you're using a GPS, it might take you down the wrong road. You
Yeah.
might go down some wrong roads sometimes, but the GPS doesn't just shut off and
No.
quit. The GPS reroutes. And that's
Reroutes.
something that that really sunk in with me. That was like an aha moment. Like,
Yeah.
I get that. That is a very good
Yeah.
way of explaining that mentality.
Yes.
And that story, listening to that story, I'm thinking the whole time, these are some incredible reroutes
Yes.
for you to have that
Yeah.
strength in the face of adversity like that.
Yeah.
I mean, even looking back, you're telling your young self on a dirt field in Mali, you're like, I'm going to be a pro. You're going to see me on TV. And in all intents and purposes, you did that.
Yeah.
Just the legalities of government in the world held you back. And that's unfortunate, but I think it opened up more opportunities. So now you're done with college, you're done with the professional career. You start going down another path.
Yeah.
When you're doing that, where does that lead you now? What's after that?
Running. Okay. I played soccer my whole life. Soccer, you cannot play without running.
No.
When I'm playing a game, I'm all in. I don't care how much I have to run. I've actually I've never missed someone in soccer when I got to college up until I stopped playing that was faster than me. So I always play a little game in my head. When I see you're that defender, or you're that forward, I was like, I feel bad for you right now because I'm going to make you run like you've never run a day in your life. So it's all about foot race.
Hope you're fit, right?
That was my skill actually with soccer to a point. It was like my speed was the deadly weapon for me. So that was never a problem. But when it comes to running purely, fitness days, the beep test, going up, running the Cooper test, running 2 miles in under 12 minutes, I was dead. I would be so sad and miserable and scared because I know the pain that I would have to go through. I wouldn't be able to sleep the night before beep test. Any running when we get a day off, I didn't not want a day off. If you get a day off, the next day is purely fitness. So when the coach said, you guys have Monday off, we'll resume on Tuesday, everybody's like, yeah. I'm like, nope, I don't want a day off because I know what's going to come after the day off. So I've always been afraid of running, even though playing the game, it's part of run. You got to run, but you're thinking about winning the ball, tackling, header. So you're not thinking about just running itself. And I told myself, what is one thing that I was afraid of, which is running, that I want to conquer the fear and actually be consistent with it. And also I like my post-soccer season body when you're fit. The only way to do that is to run. Yeah. So I decided to give running a try. And I would give a credit to one YouTuber, Paul Wallace, Supercars of London. I was watching his YouTube channel the January of 2017. He was like, my new year, I want to try running. And I'm like, he's not an athlete like I am. He's saying this. I should have the confidence. I've been an athlete. So that was a reason. I'm like, okay, let me give it a try. Let me face something that I'm afraid of, that I want to tackle. But let's just do 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day just for 2 weeks. 2 weeks is something that's not crazy. That's a lot. That scares you, but it's not too small. So that's when I started. I would just start my watch and I would just go run. I didn't care how slow I was going. I didn't care definitely not longer than 10 minutes. And I just went out there to run intuitively. And then I started literally, oh, this is not bad because there's no pressure. I have nothing to worry about. And within a week time, I saw myself falling in love with this. So I come to my girl. I'm like, man, I'm loving this right now. I don't want to speak ahead of myself, but I can see myself doing this for the rest of my life when I finish the 2 weeks. But let me not get ahead of myself. Let me try for 365 days. I didn't even know streaking was a thing. I had no idea. So I said, let me run every day for a year. And we're like, all right, let's do it. And that's how I started.
And so you're 163 days into the year, and your girl says, you should start a YouTube channel.
I got to give her so much credit because it was before 160 days. She was like, we should do a video on this, Hellah. I was like, nah, I keep pushing. We could have probably done a video on this at day 50. I was just like, I'm not in, like, only close family member doing it. I didn't even want to do a video. So 163 days, I said, okay, let me go get my haircut. I don't know if you guys noticed. I had this fresh haircut. I was like, let me go to the barber shop, get my haircut. Let's shoot the video when I get back. I wasn't even like into it. I was just like, all right, I'll do it because she wants me to do it. So I did the video. Why I run every day was day 163. So that's a very special day for me.
Yeah.
And we put out the video explaining why I'm running every day. And that video literally didn't do any damage in 3 months. It was like few views on it. And next thing you know, I'm waking up every morning. I'm seeing 2,000 views every night, to a point it was like 20,000 views every night. And people are asking questions, are you still running every day? What's going on? And I'm like, well, I got to update people because I am running. And then we started doing the updates. So that's how literally the whole journey began, sharing on social media. It wasn't meant for YouTube at all.
Wow. And
yeah.
And so just the sheer thought of putting one video up there, right? And at that point, were you still running minimum of 10 minutes a day? Or
no, the 10 minutes didn't last after 2 weeks.
Okay. I was like, wow.
I fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I would just run. I would just it was like just running freely. I would go out there. I don't know how long it was gonna take. And I love that I was always surprised. When I get back, I look at my watch and I'm like, whoa, how was that 4 miles? It felt like I was out there for like 10 minutes. Or like I was always surprised by the miles, and I just went out there. The 10 minutes literally didn't last long, and I would give credit to the fact that I wanted to run pressure free, and I did it freely. So I started enjoying, like I would have like thinking in my head, daydreaming while I'm running, and I'm loving it. I'm like, oh, this is not as painful as I thought I made it. So my mentality, the mindset is really funny because my mindset switched my fear for running to love it. So that 10 minutes didn't last that quick. I ended up running 3, 4, 5, and then it was always mixing different miles every day at that point.
But the whole point was run at least a certain amount every day. Just get out there. And is it always outside?
100%, no matter the circumstances.
Wow.
That's my thing. I said we got to make sure we do this outside no matter the circumstances. And if I go do a treadmill run, that has to be a second run or a first run, but we still got to get out there outside. So the reason I said that is because I wanted to make sure that I feel the reality of everything, because I started seeing that it's like it's one of those things when you're running outside, it's never the same. I can run the same exact distance, the same exact route, but it's never the same run because the wind is different, the temperature is different, the way I breathe is different, the way my energy is different. So I have to make sure I'm outside. Outside is never going to be controlled. You can't control nature. You can't control. So I said outside no matter what. So every day since I've been running, all the run has been outdoor. If you see any other runs, it's just extra on the treadmill or anything. Yeah.
That's so true though. I mean, I ran the same route on Saturday by myself, and then I ran the same route with my dad on Sunday. And every variable was different. Now I'm running with someone else. We're talking. You're seeing things, it was beautiful on Saturday, and it was pouring rain 10 minutes before we left on Sunday. So then you're running, you're going around puddle. It's the best part about running. You can do anything, something different. It's always going to be in your way. So that's awesome. And so now you're at 1,000. What would you go back and tell yourself at 163 days? What have you learned? That's different.
I've not so much running in life. I learned that that it's about mindset and perspective in life. I said that even me, I had to be honest with myself. The fact that I didn't get to the level I wanted to in soccer. Yes, a lot of it was out of my control, but I didn't focus on what was in my control. It was just to go out there and just train hard and be ready so you don't have to get ready. Yeah. I didn't do that. I would be down. I didn't go train. I lost talent there. Maybe I would have got to a point. There's always a way. People say there's a will, there's a way. And I would say maybe if I trained hard enough and I got better, maybe there would have been someone who would be crazy enough to invest in me and say that they see. But I didn't do that. So that running part made me realize that you are your own mistake. You are your own success no matter what. It's just that you have to focus on what's important to you. So at 1,000 days in, I proved to myself that anything is possible, even before we got there. So, and with running, I proved to myself that I can pound my body in ways that it's unimaginable. Everybody's like, you're going to have knee problem, you're going to have back problem. I heard that since the year in. But I never had any of these issues because that's not my main focus. And I told people I like to live in the now kind of thing. So when that day come, I'll worry about that when I'm dealing with knee pain. But I will say that my last 1,000 day, I can gladly say that I took advantage of it by actually running. I ran, taking advantage that day by actually running. So if I couldn't run today, I said, you know what? I took advantage of my last 1,000 days and made it happen.
Yeah, that's a great perspective.
Yeah.
And those videos documenting your long stretches of running are your most popular videos. You have 4 now that are over 1 million views. You have one that's at 3.5 million views.
Yeah.
looking from the perspective of your YouTube channel side of things, when did the channel really start picking up speed and becoming something of like, wow, this is something I can spend
Yeah.
my time doing. This is something that I want to
Yeah.
do with my
It was
life.
after the first run update just started blowing up, and then we did a second run update. So anything that was run update, like you said, anything that has to do with the running had a lot of views. People are engaged. They were curious. Some people are like, oh, people would relate. I was relatable. People were like, I was afraid of doing this too. I was afraid of running every day. Oh, can you run every day and not be skinny? Because everybody has this thing. You're gonna be really skinny. You're gonna be these marathon runners. And I said, well, that's how they train themselves. It's different. I actually make sure I do body work, my weight training or body weight training. So we saw within the update that this is something that we should just, it's like, you know, the saying is the ride the wave kind of thing. It's, like, it's happening. Let's just keep going, because no matter what, I'm still going to run. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell anybody till 163 days in. So why not share it if I'm doing it anywhere? So we said, you know what, let's do this. And then I realized it was bigger than me. So that was my turning point. Hearing people's story, saying that I've made them change their lifestyle. So I said at that point, it wasn't even about me, my goal anymore, because I said that no matter what, it's part of my daily routine. So it's about the people. It's bigger than me. I run for people who can walk, let alone run. I think about that. Sometimes when I'm running down the street, I see these people in wheelchair having struggled to walk, people who don't have their limbs, like veterans and things like that. And then I feel sad. And I said, you know what, this is a privilege that not everybody has. So let me make sure I take advantage of this privilege and run for them. So it became much bigger than that. So because of that reason, we wanted to continue putting it on YouTube. Even if it changed one person's life, it's worth it. So even if we get low views on videos, there's going to be someone in there that maybe we don't know what it did to them. So that's the most important part. So that encouraged us to keep putting content out every week.
I think you're motivational. You're very motivational. And I think one of the best things that you do is you break everything out into very manageable pieces. And you say, it's not like, oh, just go run for 1,000 days. Just do that. That's easy, right? You say, hey, why don't you try 14 days for 10 minutes a day?
That's it.
You can do anything for 10 minutes. And then, oh, maybe I could. And maybe you just start with walking. And you really break it out into that approachability. And then you can say, look, if you start with 14 days for 10 minutes, you might be able to run 247 miles in a week. That could happen. You don't know what's going to happen, but you got to start today, and you got to start somewhere. And it's a great message that you're always putting out there. And I think the updates are awesome because
thank you.
The reality is I really want to know. I want to know like what it is like to run for 1,000 days every day. And it's such a cool thing. So you've gotten a lot of opportunities from this. Right now, you're part of Gymshark. You're running the NYC Marathon. But one thing that you said before that too, you've opened opportunities, but you've also, oh man, I just lost where I was going. So, sorry, you're running for a cause, right? And I think that's the same thing where you diverted from soccer. There was the passion was being drawn from it. And I don't think you had a cause to it, right? You have been beat down so many times trying to get the visa, trying to get onto the team. And you're just like, man, is this ever, you start to actually get some negative doubt. And here, that's where you filled in with the causes, right? So you're running 247 miles in a week. And that's an average of what, 35?
Yeah, 35 miles a day to get to 245 miles in 1 week. Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, for those who don't run, right? That's an unbelievable number. Even just driving 35 miles a day, some people, especially right now, you're not doing that. Right?
I was about to say I used to commute 30 miles each way to work, and that was plenty for me.
And you're in a car going 60. So you finding these causes to support, and so what? Tell us about that. Tell us about how the thought came up. Tell us about the whole series that you're gonna.
Yeah. So the whole thing is, anything you do in life, have your why, have a reason behind it. Mine was because I was afraid of running. I wanted to hold myself accountable. I always say I'll go to the gym. 3 days later, I stopped. So and then also do it something that's bigger than you. And that was the whole thing. What can I do now next? There's so many things. I was looking at so many nonprofit out there that I could run for. But one of the things that related to me a lot was to do something that needs attention in life. For example, we can get into that later or now, but I'm planning to run across the country from LA to New York City. And then a pair of running shoes goes a long way. I grew up in West Africa. having a pair of running shoes is an amazing thing. We'll have brand new shoes. You better keep it good for 2-3 years because you're not going to get the next one for a while.
Yeah.
And we only wear on holidays. You wear your shoes to look nice on holidays. It goes back. It stays in the house for a few months. You don't wear it till the next holiday. You just wear your sandals around. That's it. And then I realized there's so many kids out there and people, not even kids, that do not have a pair of shoes. And we did some research and found Soul for Souls. So they basically help people, over 300 million people, to help them with shoes. And they do more than just that. I think they do clothes as well, but shoes is the main priority. To start with, they help people in third world countries, even in the United States, not just they do it here, they do it everywhere else. So I was like, you know what, that's something I want to run for. And then it's kind of like symbolic because you're running. You can't run without a good pair of running shoes too. So everything tied down together. So that's the cost for that. And the 245 miles that I did was to shine light on people who was unfortunate, who were murdered due to racial injustice and police brutality. And it was one of the messages I wanted to send out was just to kind of focus on unity right now, because everybody's kind of like scattered everywhere. So we have to come unite and do something that's right. Because you see these videos of these individuals and you could see that it was something that they were profiled based on the color of their skin. And I wanted to make sure that their story were heard through their family, because sometimes people hear these stories, they try to make the victim who were murdered try to say, oh, they did this, oh, look at this, and trying to find a reason to do something which it shouldn't even happen, even if they were, just leave it to the judicial system. That's why we have this in America. Let them be trial, whatever. But I want their story to be heard from their loved ones. So you personally, I don't know you guys personally, but your family members have this connection to you guys. They can talk about you as a person. So I make sure that I was sharing their story through the voice of their family member, that what they have said. And I wanted justice to be brought for those individuals. And there's many people that I didn't mention, but there's so many people out there. So the 245 miles, each day was dedicated to an individual. We started with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, and we were doing all these people throughout the week to make sure that they are getting the attention that they need, and the Black Lives Matter movement. And we make sure that the donation that I was doing was going to their direct cause to help with the lawyer, the family, the situation that they're in. So I always want to do it for anything that's bigger than myself. Running for equality, running for people who need shoes, running for anything, running for everybody's right in this world, because I feel like we have more in common than we don't. So we should always come together and find a solution to the better solution for everybody in this world.
100%. And it gives you the motivation on your side too, right? So you're there's no excuse, right? You want to get out there and run, and you want to run from LA to New York, or New York to LA. And you doing that is two goals, right? You're getting to run every day, and you're growing awareness for something that's amazing, and it goes hand in hand. It's awesome to watch. It was amazing to watch you run 245 miles. I mean, I ran 100 miles that month, and I was like, I was patting myself on the back. I was like, man, good. But 245 in a week, that's nuts. That's great.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was tough, because sometimes when you're going through pain and that stuff, one of the reminder that I always tell myself, I'll say, Hellah, just shut up. No matter what pain you're going through right now, some of the pain that these individual people who are still going through is you can't compare. So just push through it, because
and the pain
they would take your pain any day than what they're going through right now. So that was in the back of my head all the time.
And their family's pain and all the pain that's going along with that. You're encompassing that, and you're saying, hey, I'm doing this so these people can be better, and this doesn't happen again. And it's a great cause to do it for. And so now you're doing updates. You're doing a weekly video on Saturdays. How do you come up with the content that you're going to put up on Saturday? How do you know what you're putting up?
So I have a weekly meeting. So my girl is my manager, everything. All the videos producer, she does everything by herself.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and there's no other, it's only her and me and I. So we have a meeting, and then when we have a meeting, we have these video ideas, and the video ideas comes up what people want to see. They're like, hey, can you show this? Can you do this? And then we're like, you know what? If it's something that I'm doing, if it's authentic, we're doing it. If it's not,
Yeah.
we'll let you know if anything changes in the future. So we look at these, and then we know there's a certain time we got to do update. Even running it, so even the races I've done, it was more for the people at that point than myself, because I didn't start running to do races. Because if I did that, my game plan would change. I'm not running every day. I'm gonna train properly so I can PR and I can be the best in races.
Yeah.
So, but I did some of the races to show people my race time. They want to see this, and I have to make sure that I want to do it, because it's important. You gotta don't just do what people are telling you. You gotta make sure that you're happy with it. So if they say, "What is your half marathon time?" It makes me think, you know what? Let me check that. I'm actually curious to see this. So we'll do these videos to show them what's going on. And then anything that come about. So I just put up a recent video about being injured. That came up last. So that was just something I want to share, because I put out my life there to show you my lifestyle, what goes on. A lot of the question I get asked, how are you able to run every day and you don't get injured, you don't get sick? How do you figure it out? And I do get injured. I do get here and there these sick. That doesn't stop me from running. It makes it a little difficult. So over a year ago, I had this injury in my right leg, and it was my calf and posterior shin. So I was in pain. That injury lasted 50 plus days. So I'd come back from runs where like I'm literally holding myself from crying in pain. And I was trying to minimize it, but I did not want to stop. I didn't want to give up. And then it wasn't like, oh, I want to keep a streak. Running is so important to me that I didn't want to let go because of this. I was like, you know what, I'm going to push through it. It took a very long time. Eventually I healed. So I'm having this similar problem with the left one. And then at that point, I was like, you know what, let me show people, because these questions comes up a lot. How do you not get injured? So the video point was to show you, yes, I do get injured, but this is how I'm dealing with it. So a lot of people were saying, you got to stop. What are you doing? And then I was thinking, all opinions are great because you can always learn. Everybody has their opinion. At the end of the day, ultimately, it has to be what's best for you.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself, if I were to share the same injury that happened in my right foot, people would have told me to quit then. There's no way I would have made it to year 3. So it's about kind of adjusting to the situation that you're in. So my adjustment is, you know what, let me just actually talk to myself to cut down on my mileage. Instead of 7 minimum a day, let's just do 5K a day minimum. If I have to do less than that, I don't think I will, but I want the 5K to be minimum. So it's just no more, but minimum hit that. And so I changed that up. I'm changing my recovery routine, what I do every day. I've seen these performance sports doctors. So I'm doing stuff to get better, but I wanted to show people the reality is not always sunshine and rainbows. So this is what you will go through here and there. And then with running game, eventually you're going to get hurt. But the goal is, how can you minimize these big injuries by doing what you got to do every day? And then the little ones that could be preventable, what can you do to prevent those? So it comes down to basically taking care of yourself and then sharing with people what's going on. So that's how I figure out the video. So this is what's going on in my life right now. So this is an opportunity for me to share with you, because you want to know if I get injured or not. So here's a video idea. Let me show you guys what's going on. So the ideas of the videos come about like that.
And you get that, and you get a lot of that from the comment section. Are you reading that every day?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Our biggest thing is we're very slow with it recently. I said, no matter what, we'll get back to you. We make sure we reply to everybody's comments, whether it's negative or positive. Even I'm very slacking on my DMs. I said, DM me, I'll get back to you. Just be patient. And I said, I want to make sure, I said, no matter what happened with me, if I have 10 followers or 100,000, I'll communicate with you, because I'm not any better. I'm human just like you. Yes, it may take longer depending on the volume of message I'm getting, but I'll communicate with you. And I do say that I'm grateful for everybody, because without you guys, who is hella good at the end of the day, you guys made me who I am by paying attention to me. And I always look at it, if someone took the time out of their day to acknowledge you, to say something to you, that's a precious time of their day. So it's only right for me to let them know, you know what, I saw your message, and then I get it.
I
and then
feeling you'd be just fine without.
And the comments have been nothing short of amazing, very positive. Some of them, people are not friendly, but we take it as that's something that they're dealing with. It has nothing to do with me. That's their own reflection. So all you could do is just say thank you, or like, I appreciate it. Or if it's a really mean comment, that's bad, because I have a lot of younger audience. You don't want them to see something bad. We just get rid of it, so they don't have to see that, especially the young kids. But
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I appreciate how authentic and genuine you keep your videos and your work. You know, that's
yeah,
shown through how vulnerable you are, just letting people into your life and your injuries and things like that.
yeah,
That's shown with the fact that it's you and your girl producing these videos.
yeah.
And there were a couple other things I noticed in your videos too. One you already mentioned, which was your level of responsiveness and your openness to saying, contact me, I'll get right back to you. You know, that was
Yeah,
very helpful for us, obviously, with doing this
yeah,
podcast. But
Yeah.
two other things I wanted to point out, just noticing like, wow, this guy's really authentic, really genuine. At the end of your running used to scare me video, you talk
uh-huh.
about a gratitude rock. And I thought that was
I
really
have it.
cool.
I have it. Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of do the same thing. I go look for sea glass when I'm
Wow.
on the coast, and I
Yeah.
like carry around something like that just as, you know, it's like a tangible,
Yeah.
tactile thing to keep you grounded.
Yeah.
The one I really wanted to point it out to you though was I think it's so cool how you mention your best friend in some of your videos. You did it in your most recent video. You did it 2 years ago in videos.
Yeah.
Then I was thinking maybe you want to give him a shout out or talk a little bit to our listeners about
Yeah.
what your relationship is with Garrett Jones.
Yeah. Garrett Jones. He would love to hear this. So I met Garrett Jones in college. I moved into my dorm. I was at a sophomore dorm when I was technically supposed to be a freshman because I was redshirting. Freshman um, uh, in college at that point because some of my credit didn't transfer, but as a sophomore for
Mm-hmm.
soccer. So I'm in this sophomore dorm. I meet Garrett. His room was right across my room. So his impression of meeting me, he was like, "Oh, this guy is probably like some crazy guy, whatever." Because I always wear these beaters and like all these color. And then we met each other one weekend because I couldn't travel with the team. The team was away, so it was just me. And he said, "Hey, you want to go out with us?" And I was like, "Yeah." So we started talking. So Garrett and I literally were literally the same exact people. We love to avoid confrontation. We always trying to like enjoy moments, and we didn't even know that that's what you should do with your life, just live in the moment. So we're always like, we love everything about UMass. We always raving about we get to get up in the dorm. We always like and then go eat and go to class and have like hours of the day of not doing anything. There's nothing like it. So we became friends really quick. Our family background was very similar. He grew up in a tough environment. Didn't have everything that a typical kids need or should have, and it was similar for me coming from a poor country,
Mm-hmm.
and so we related a lot. So we just kicked off being friends, and we always literally everything that we like the same thing. It's so weird how it happens. So we just built that relationship, and then we always listen to. We've never had an argument, any fight, because we always saw our mentality was that's how you see it. So I understand. So I'm not gonna say you're wrong or I'm wrong. That's how I see it. So it's kind of like agree to disagree kind of relationship kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and always there for each other, like encouraging. He was at every single one of my games. And then when I was having tough time with soccer, and then I brought him into my friend group, and he would see the teammates and stuff what they have to say about me, and he comes to me not to snitch, but he was laughing because he said, if they only knew how hard you're working, they have no idea what's going on right now. And then the kind of encouragement kind of thing. So yeah, he's been my best friend since I met him at UMass 2009. We love the same music. It's just he's Jamaican descent, and yeah. So since then we've kind of built our life about manifesting things. We both got into. I convinced him. He became vegan. He did his research.
Right
Um,
on.
we started reading similar books. The whole book. I actually have my books here. I was gonna like kind of go over that on my Instagram story later today. So we were reading books. One of the books that he told me about that I already had the book at home. He told me, he said, "Hellah, you should read this book, The Four Agreements." And my
I
girl
was
already
going to
has
ask you about that too.
my number one book of all time right now for me because this book changed my life.
That's
So
I told Drew, I said, I wonder if his friend like recommended the book, and that
yeah,
book we read Drew read me the cliff notes on it.
uh-huh,
You can see all those agreements resonate in almost every one of your videos. It's
yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable, and it's so
yeah.
cool that you guys share that. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
he recommended the book, and the book was sitting at home, and I was like, it was meant to be. I was like, I've seen
Yeah.
this book somewhere. I gotta read it. And we read the Secret also, which is about kind of like
Yep.
manifesting the way you want your
Yeah.
life to be. I have that here. And then The Alchemist was kind of like it kind of reminded me of my life. You know, I don't know if you guys have read The Alchemist.
Have not.
I haven't either.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin the book, but basically, the message was just to keep going. Something happens that's very interesting, and the ending is crazy. And then also the thing or mentality was the power of now, living in the present moment. You cannot live in the past. You cannot live in the future. You can only live. We can only live in this time. This is the only time that's guaranteed for us. So things like we have a lot of books that we go through, like You Are the Placebo, talking about how the mindset, the mentality. So we understand each other, and we understand whenever we're in each other's presence or not, it's all about being joyful. So that makes the relationship stronger between us. And so he's a good guy. He's always trying to help you, even if he's at own expense. He's always done that. So yeah, and now he's living in LA. He's a personal trainer. He's been a personal trainer for years now, since he left college.
He'll be on that last leg of the run.
Yeah. Say that again?
He'll be on the last leg of the run.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, my goal is to start over there to end it in New York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. So then you get a couple of days with him hanging out in LA.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool to listen to. Thanks for sharing about that. And
no problem.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The only time Drew and I have ever fought was one time I installed a Nest thermostat in it had to have been
in the middle of summer in Central Florida.
Yeah, and we didn't have air conditioning for like a day and a half. He was pretty pissed. Right,
it was enough to get to a solid 90 degrees Fahrenheit inside the apartment.
But yeah, that's awesome, dude.
That's cool. You recommend the books too, and those all reflect something I really liked. A quote that I wrote down from you, which is a simple one but deep, and it's that living the dream is a state of mind. I think that's very succinct and
I didn't think that at all.
It took me a while to think that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one of the thing is I'm a car enthusiast. I was
going to ask you about the McLaren 570S too.
That's the dream car. That's the dream car. One day I'll get that. I
don't doubt that at all.
So I have a Mustang right now. So I had the 4 cylinders. It was 2015. I got it. I leased it. So one day I'm getting that car. So I have another one right now. This is a 2019. So the other lease has to be returned almost 2 years ago. So I get that car. I thought I was like, this is before the whole running journey started, 2015. I'm like, I'm so happy I have this car. This is going to make me happy. And I'm like, if anything happened, I love this car so much. It's a 4-cylinder. It's the fastest car I've ever had. I used to have a 1998 Toyota Camry that the door wouldn't even open, and you have to open it from the inside to let people in. So I'm like, this is it. This is going to make me happy. If I'm mad, I'm just going to go sit in my car and drive. So one day I was really annoyed. I was really pissed. I was mad. So I was like, let me just go to my car. I go and sit in there. I'm looking at the car. I want to go for a drive. I'm looking at the car. I was like, I don't even want this thing. I was like, this is stupid. This is not making me happy. I'm so pissed right now. And then I sat there. I was like, wait a minute. I know you hear it all the time. Material doesn't make you happy. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, it doesn't matter if I have this car, because you can take this car away from me right now. I can give a crap about it. That was my mentality, because I was so mad. So I literally came to the realization, it was like a aha moment at that point, that, wow, you have to be really happy internally. You would think that is what I thought was going to make me happy. I'm sitting in it. I love this car, but this car is not cutting it from me right now. So I had to switch my mindset. Now, find ways to make you happy in the head. And then those things are just pluses, just icing on the cake. You have it or not, you're still going to be happy. If you have it, it has a little more joy, but if you don't have it, it's not going to take your joy away. So that was a very turning moment for me in my mindset. Living the dream, having a state of mind, and then just realizing the little thing, the fact that we woke up this morning. People don't really think about this. It's like, that's an opportunity for us to even have this podcast, to do something we would love to do. We might not have that. Some people didn't wake up this morning. Some people woke up to bad news that they have cancer. They're looking at life differently. So we are living the dream every single day. And even if it's rough, and it will be rough at times, it's going to be tough at times. But the fact that we have an opportunity to change it, even though we have to go through a lot of obstacles, that's just living the dream. Because especially with COVID, so many people aren't making it. So many people are, like, unfortunately losing their life so quicker than they should have. And the fact that I'm able to get up, I'm able to go run, even I'm in pain, I'm not fully healthy, but I still have functions of my body, that's living the dream, if anything else. Because some people would take that within a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's so many YouTubers are following the same thing that you are, that that message resonates, is like, follow your passion, follow the dream, and make that dream your reality. I mean,
Yeah.
you just talked to Sam, and Sam said the same thing. He's like, I watched a guy on YouTube and he's why I wanted to do something. And now he's one of my best friends. And you're following that same dream. Always be happy, find something you love, become passionate, and do it. Just do something.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the emphasis on waking up and showing gratitude for the things that you do have, the things that we might often take for granted.
Yeah.
I had a realization of that. I was listening to an NPR interview, and forget what it was about, but this woman was talking about yoga. And I know you practice a bit of yoga yourself. I do too. And she was discussing how the ending pose, Shavasana, is corpse pose. And so essentially a yogi is playing dead. You know, like when you're lying there in corpse pose, you're playing dead. You're imagining, in a sense, that you're not a functioning human being anymore. I never really took it other than just that translation. Oh, that just must mean corpse pose because it's like that. But taking it to that deeper level, that, you're kind of contemplating the fact that you're immortal too.
Yeah.
That gives you a different sense of gratitude too. And that's sort of switched a mindset in me as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, as we roll out, you know, LA to NYC for Souls.
Yeah.
We know that obviously the current state has delayed that. It was supposed to be in March. Hopefully we can, you can get there. Tell us a little bit about that, and then how people can stay tuned and follow that journey. Drew and I 100% will join you. We want to join you at the start, because if we have any choice to go to LA, we're going to do it.
I love LA. Yes. Hopefully one day I can live out there.
Hey man, dream it and it will come, right?
Exactly.
And then let us know. We'll definitely be there. I'll definitely be there for the finish. My son and I, Luca, will run across there with you. I don't know if we'll be able to keep up with you, but we'll cruise.
Definitely will be able to.
Yeah. But yeah, tell us about it, and then how can people follow the journey, and a little bit about your socials and stuff like that, so they can stay tuned with you.
Yeah, so we're gonna try to make it a community base. I'll be announcing everything on my YouTube channel, Instagram. So I want to make sure that if I'm running through your state, you can jump in and run. So that's why with COVID, that's not very safe. So that's why I wanted to, even if I have to wait a little longer, to make sure that everything is a little more certain. So if you are seeing me in your town, you could just hop in for a mile or two. You can donate to the cause. You don't have to, it's not required. And so you get to see, you could be part of the journey, because I want it to be everybody. So the symbol behind everything is that we're all one. So let's all do this together. It's not just about me. It's not about my personal accomplishment. Because if it is, like, try to cover 3,000 miles in less than 100 days, that's crazy. I usually do that in a year. So if it was about just me, I would have probably opted out a long time ago. So I know with the mindset of us doing it together, like together, we go a long way. There's like a quote that says that if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go further, go together. So that's the mentality. So to go together so we can go further. So I want people to be part of the journey. And I will make sure that we're on Strava. I am on Strava already, so you can track where I'm at. So you can actually live, like, see what's going on. If I'm going to get into your area, you can jump in, and so we can happen and celebrate at the start at LA. I spoke to YouTube, actually. They wanted me to use their YouTube space. So we start there to celebrate, and then we ended at Chelsea Market, the YouTube space in New York City. So as the cross finish line there, because reason that's also important, because everything started because of YouTube, in a way, that me being able to share my content with everybody. So YouTube made that possible. So it meant a lot to start at YouTube and finish at YouTube. So that's the plan.
That's an awesome little tidbit of information, that it starts and ends at YouTube. That's really cool. Yeah. And so make sure, I mean, honestly, dude, we said this every time we've got on the phone with you. We're so excited to talk with you. I can't wait to not only start with you, hopefully, but definitely end with you at YouTube in New York. I wish you the best. Keep dreaming this positive vibe, because
thank you so much.
It's unbelievably infectious.
Thank you.
And we look forward to catching up with you again. Maybe at like the 350,000 subscribers, which I don't want to say that because that could be like in 25 minutes. I don't know. It's going to go really quick for you. I have a very close feeling on it. But hey, appreciate the time. everyone on the podcast, make sure you hop on over to his Instagram, check him out on YouTube, obviously, subscribe, hit the bell to him. It really helps, and it won't hurt you in any way. You only might end up running every day for a year. So,
yes.
Thank you, Hellah. Thank you so much for your time
Thank you
today.
guys for having me. Thank you.
No, appreciate it.